Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Dato Seri Mohamed Nazri Bintan Seri Abdul Aziz. Thank you for joining us at the ICD today for the Berlin Economic Conference. And thank you very much for your keynote speech as well.
Thank you.
We would like to ask you a few questions and your thoughts about some issues. All four of us are MA students. So Mats is from Copenhagen, Betsy and I are from the United States, and Koen is from the Netherlands. Yeah.
Mr. Minister, please, how has cultural diplomacy actively been used in Malaysia so far?
Oh, in Malaysia, we are a multi-cultural country.
Yes.
And I must say that in Malaysia, we have effectively used cultural diplomacy to promote understanding between the various ethnic groups in Malaysia. And how we do it is that, as I've said in my speech earlier, we have many celebrations. We have Diwali for the Indians, the Hindus. We have the Chinese New Year. We have Christmas for Christians. And these are all, time of happiness. And what the government has done is that we have a national celebration for all these religious and community celebration, whereby the government organized a big celebration and we invite all groups. For example, if it's Christmas, it's not only meant for the Christians. It's meant for all Malaysians, regardless of their religion. We come together, we celebrate Christmas, so that there will be understanding between Malaysian citizens of diverse religious groups to understand each other. And we have been doing this for the last 20 years, and it has shown great improvement in peaceful coexistence between Malaysians of diverse religious groups. So we actually use cultural diplomacy to bring together Malaysians of diverse ethnic groups to come together as one Malaysian.
Fantastic. And to you in person, what do you think of cultural diplomacy?
To
when
me,
you hear the term? Yes.
It means a lot to me. It means a lot because, as I said earlier, my country is the background is that we are multi-cultural, multi-racial, and multi-religious. So cultural diplomacy is very important to me because when you talk about culture, sometimes you find similarities amongst the culture practiced by our people. And when you talk about culture, it's all about good things. You have music, you have a cuisine. So these are not, culture is not divisive. Culture is actually bringing people together. I will go to a friend of mine who's Malaysian of Chinese origin, and I go to his house, and culture is about the music of the Chinese community. I'll sit down and listen. There's nothing to argue. It soothes your mind. And then he serves me food, the Chinese cuisine. I eat the food. So this is all about cultural diplomacy means you don't have to talk about things which are divisive or sensitive. So that's why to me cultural diplomacy is very important intra Malaysia. But of course, when you go to the world between nations, I think cultural diplomacy has a very important role to bring together two countries which are apart, to bring them to understanding, and cultural diplomacy works better than other kind of diplomacy. So cultural diplomacy is very important to me.
Thank you. As you know, this conference is about global trends and creative economies. Does sustainable tourism have a place in your country's economy, and in which way?
Certainly. In my speech earlier, I mentioned that culture and tourism. First of all, my Prime Minister has combined tourism and culture. which I think is natural and logical. Because if you go to any countries, certainly when you go there, you want to look at their culture. And creative economy is part of the culture. It helps to bring income to the various people, various group. With their culture, they have, for example, like you have a play, for example, which shows about the culture of a certain group of people in the country. Now, that is showing to others, and they make money. I mean, creative economy means that you have fine art, you have craft and all that. Yeah. So creative economy is very important because it helps to bring income to the lower income people who are good at craftsmanship and also how we encourage creative economy in my country is that we have a body which is called the Malaysian National Craft Body. The function of which is to encourage people with creative economy, and we buy their products for us then to sell to others. We are more or less like the middlemen. So whatever you do, we support you. And there are we also have the what we call the Istana Budaya. This is our national theatre, and we encourage our young people to have plays, theatre plays and all that. We give grant. We have schools for acting. So these are the things that the government do to encourage creative economy in Malaysia.
Okay. Can you maybe give us some specific example about green growth in your country, and also maybe especially related to the tourism sector?
I mentioned in my speech earlier, if you still remember, that we have a program what we call the homestay program. The whole idea is to encourage people to come and see for themselves how we Malaysians live daily. And Malaysia is 67% still covered by trees. 67 is a big percentage of the land in Malaysia. But even though we are 67%, we feel that we need to, for every trees that we cut, we need to replant. So in the homestay program, we get the visitors to come with the local community, and before they leave, they help to, they plant one tree. So this way, we are actually encouraging tourists to come, not just to come as tourists, but also to help our country to plant more trees. Yeah, and by doing so, I think most tourists are just too happy to do it. But other than that, as I've said earlier, it is enticing people to come back in a few years to see how the trees have grown. So this is one of the programs that we do. The other thing that we do is that we have the what we call the timber concession tourism sector. In Europe, Europeans are very concerned about forest protection, conservation, and preservation. In fact, no timber will be exported to EU if it's not sustainable, cutting it sustainably. So what we have is that in Sarawak, the biggest state in Malaysia, where we give out a lot of timber concession, we ask the companies, not only to cut trees, but they must also do a replanting program. And we also invite tourists to come to their concession, timber concession, to see what the timber construction company does. So this way, then tourists will not just come as tourists, but to see for themselves, that timber construction in Malaysia is sustainable. So that will encourage Europeans to be more confident. When you buy timber from Malaysia, you know that it comes from sustainable timber concession. So these are the things that we do when it comes to green growth. It is very important. In Malaysia, we have the oldest rainforest in the world, which is called the Royal Belum, which you all must visit. It is the oldest rainforest in the world, much older than Congo and Amazon. And rainforests contribute 30% of the world's oxygen. So by coming to Malaysia and see all this, you're helping us to help yourselves. Because there are not many forests now in Europe. You have to depend on us to get your oxygen. So that's why you must come to Malaysia. And you know that when you come to Malaysia as tourists, you are not just coming as tourists, but you are really supporting Malaysia's effort to ensure that our rainforests are conserved for the good of the world. Okay?
I'd love to visit it. Yeah.
You must come. You must come. It happens to be in my state, the Royal Belum Forest, the biggest rainforest in the world, and oldest. Huh?
Great. Yeah.
From your keynote speech earlier, you mentioned that Malaysia is working for the visa regulations to make it easier for tourism to visit Malaysia. Now, on more personal and a little bit more sensitive issues, I have heard that if you were to visit Malaysia with a passport that has an Israeli stamp, it might hinder entry into Malaysia. So it's only for tourism. Is that something that is looked or frowned upon still, or is now?
No, we don't allow a person with Israeli passport to come to Malaysia. But if in your passport it shows that you have visited Israel, it's not a problem for us. Okay, what we ban is a passport. Not the countries, not visiting Israel. It's only the passport, Israeli passport. Now, this is a policy because we are a strong supporter of the formation of a Palestinian state, which has been, declined to the Palestinians, who have every right to have their own state. And because of Israelis' policy towards them, not allowing them to have their own nation, which every citizen in the world is entitled to. Every one of us in any part of the world, we belong to a country. We have a country. It is not right to stop a nation from forming their own country just basically because you are having problem with them. I mean, what's so objectionable in giving the Palestinian a country of their own? So we stand by it. If you talk about human rights, if you talk about the right to a nation, then I think that we must support the formation of a country for the Palestinians. And because the Israelis are depriving them in their policies, so we are totally opposed to the policy of Israel. We think that they have a stand which is, in our opinion, very racist in their attitude. So that's why we are not racist in Malaysia, and we object Israelis' deprivation of nationhood to Palestinian. And as such, we say you are not welcome to our country. So that's it.
Yeah.
Simple.
So it's clarified, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Question?
I think we're fine with the time, so thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I enjoy this interview, and I think cultural diplomacy is the instrument and tool to bring all nations together.
So thank you very much on behalf of ICD. I really thank you for coming to visit us and giving such a wonderful speech,
Thank
and
you.
also the time for this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.